Turkey's offensive by EU leaders. They called on Turkey to stop its operations immediately at a two-day summit in Brussels. CGTN's Mariam Zaidi was there.
NATO allied Turkey's week-long military offensive in North East Syria was met with a tepid response by EU leaders. They simply condemned the military action at the end of day one of the summit. But with the US-brokered ceasefire on shaky ground less than 24 hours later, the EU had this.
In fact, it's not a ceasefire, it's a demand of capitulation of the Kurds. This is not what we expected, and we have to reiterate our call for Turkey to put a permanent end to its military action immediately.
What happened over the past few days is a heavy mistake of the West and of NATO in the region. I believe that this weakens our credibility to find partners on the ground, which will fight on our side thinking that they are protected.
Another thing to face up to, putting EU accession on ice. A handful of member states torpedoed talks with North Macedonia and Albania. Outgoing EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker called it a grave mistake by the EU.
If this is the end of the announcement, we'll have to face severe criticism, because we were encouraging those countries, we were visiting those countries, and we were making publicly promises to these countries. So if we want to be respected, we have to keep our promises.
A summit of missed opportunity. The EU did not show real leadership on Turkey, and that unity, so lauded when it came to Brexit, fell short on accession and the growth of the bloc itself. But this was a changing of the guard, a last summit for outgoing EU Presidents Donald Tusk and Jean-Claude Juncker, but also the last time, most likely, that an EU summit would be attended by 28 member states. Mariam Zaidi, CGTN, Brussels.